How's it going? Today we're going to go through the tutorial of how to use the Freedom Elite 30 FE. Whenever you get to your campground, you are going to have a couple of things that you want to get hooked up to your unit. That way you have full utilities. A couple of things that are going to be the sewer, the water, and the power. So I'm going to show you a quick how to hook that into your camper. It's very simple, just a couple of water connections for your water hose. You'll notice on this specific unit, the 30 FE, if you're renting it, that you have the city water connection, and just below it is the Saniflush. So don't get those confused while hooking up your city water. If you do want to just use water inside your unit, you hook up the city water connection right here. It's very simple. You'll have a garden hose provided, and you'll just take this in and hook it into your camper. Just like a regular garden hose connection, it's a twist threaded lock. And then hook it up to the provided water spigot that's there at your campground. Turn on the water pressure, and then that will provide water to your camper. This connection, if you do want to open it, you can put a water hose in here. If you're planning on camping somewhere that does not have water available or a water spigot available, this will actually fill a fresh tank that's on board. So while you're camping, you can use water with the water pump. It's very simple if you need to hook up your sewer hose or whenever you need to dump your tanks. Again, this cap will cover it. Make sure both valves are closed, and then you can twist this cap off and it comes right off. The sewer hose provided. It's gonna have a very similar connection to the cap there, you'll see on either end. Just gonna slip right on. You do a clockwise turn, and then it locks in place so that it's nice and firmly attached. Once you have your sewer connected to your unit, then you can go ahead and open your valves. If you're doing this process at the dump station at the end of your trip, make sure you pull your black valve open, let all of it run out. Once you hear that all the liquids have run out, go ahead and open the gray valve, and the same thing. Go ahead and let it run out. Once you hear all the liquids are clear, then you know that both tanks are empty. At this point, if you are at a dump station or even at your campground, you can sanitize the black tank. To do that, it's very simple. Just take your water connection from your city water. Now put it on your Saniflush. Remember, this is only to clean the black tank, so whenever you have your sewer hose connected and both valves are open, you can hook up the water hose to your Saniflush and turn that on. That's gonna make sure the tanks are nice and clean and prevent any foul odors from your trip home. At the end of this dump station, of course, you're gonna wanna close both valves back off. Once they're closed off, you can just take your hose, counterclockwise will unlock it and pull it right off. And then make sure to reinstall your cap. Clockwise will lock it in place. Power on this unit is very simple over here. You hook up your 30 amp power cord connection and then plug that into the pole of the unit, and you'll have power there. These two compartments here, you will not need to access, but a couple of words of caution. The water heater and the furnace here, if they're running off of LP, these metal grates can get a little warm. So do be attentive. If you have dogs or children, they're not going to be too hot, but they can get a little warm, so be attentive about that. Just underneath here, this is where your propane tank is housed. This will be full before your rental. So if you want LP in your unit, it's very simple. This valve here is just a clockwise rotation to turn it on. This is all just enjoyment purposes here. The baggage door that's on this main entry side is what's going to be housing your outside entertainment center. There's a TV and a sound bar out here. The remotes are going to be located in this corner that you can turn on and off. Sound bar does have Bluetooth, so you can hook up your phone to that and listen to Bluetooth music out here. Okay, so first thing you'll notice when you come inside your unit after you get it hooked up to power, and obviously while you're driving, you'll notice that all of these slide outs are in. So there's a small walk space that you can still get through the unit, but of course once you're camping, you're going to want to open these spaces up. That way you get full usage of the unit. So your main control panel is going to be right here, just to the left of when you walk in the main entry door. All your main switches are going to be housed on this panel here. So the slide outs are very simple. Slide 1 and slide 2, extend and retract. So slide 1, I'm going to show you here. Once extend, could be on the wrong way. Once these slide outs get all the way in or all the way out, they will stop themselves. So just push and hold on the switch. Be mindful that there's nothing in the way of the slide as it's moving out. There's no personal items, no baggage, no clothes or anything in the way. And you can keep depressed on that switch until you hear everything go silent and you know that the slide's all the way out, and you can go ahead and release. Same thing with slide number 2. We'll do the same thing. Retract here, we'll go ahead and extend. Again, be mindful, make sure that there's nothing in the way of the slide, make sure there's nothing on the floor, make sure there are no personal items that got caught behind while you're moving the slide in and out. Now with both slides out, we'll have a little bit more room in here for me to show you all your bells and whistles. Starting right here at the entry door, a couple of the most important things. This large rocker switch right here, which has on and off. This is your main battery disconnect switch. When this is turned to clockwise to off, it will disable all of the 12-volt power in the unit. It should be left in the on position while camping or while you are renting your unit. Go ahead and leave this in the on position. That way you have full power and full power to your radio while driving and everything. This will prevent the radio from turning on if it's turned off, so make sure that it's left on during your rental. The switches here, step light, little courtesy light down here so you can see coming into your unit, and the lights up here, control lights interior on this switch, your main interior lights. This one's going to do your awning light. There's an LED strip outside, and then this one does a small courtesy light that's outside, kind of like a step light to make sure that you can see while getting into your unit. The rocker switch here is going to do your awning in and out. I will show you that as soon as we get outside of the unit. Go ahead and get your awning in and out. This is electrical powered, so you don't actually need to do anything other than hit the switch. The switch is located just on the left-hand side of the door. You'll notice it's labeled awning there on the very bottom, just down here, a little lower. It's a very simple rocker switch, up and down. Now while pushing this switch and extending the awning, just push and hold the switch as the awning comes out. Do be mindful the awning is not going to stop itself once it's all the way out. So be watching the awning as it's coming out. Once it's fully extended, you're going to notice that you can see the bare tube all the way across. That's how you know that you're all the way out. Go ahead and let off the switch at that time. That way you don't overextend the awning. Now when rolling the awning in, of course you'll just hit the rocker switch, it will roll in on itself. Just be mindful that the awning fabric is rolling in on the top side of the tube there. You don't want to roll the awning in backwards on itself. As long as it's rolling in the top side of the tube and you're seeing that charcoal color rolling in on the tube, then you're doing well. Just push and hold the switch, allow it to come all the way into the unit, and once it completely stops, you know that it's in and you can let off of that switch. One other thing to mention about the awnings, while it is extended fully, do not leave the unit unattended with the awning fully extended. They are delicate and can be damaged due to weather conditions. If there's any heavy rains like we get down here in South Florida, or any winds that come out, it can damage the awning. So do not leave it unattended, or if there is any heavy rains or heavy winds, go ahead and just leave your awning in to prevent any damage. Down here is your solar charge controller. I'll show you this in case you're wondering what it does. Otherwise, nothing you have to do here, no buttons you have to push. This is a passive system, so it will be doing its job. Just make sure you don't turn it off. Just let it do its job. And then here's your heated tank switch. If you're traveling somewhere that's going to be freezing or way up north, you may need to use this. Otherwise, during your rentals down here in Florida, this should always be left off. Once you're inside your unit, and the slides are out and you have full water connection and full power connection and sewer connection, you're basically going to be living in a temporary suite. So treat it semi like your house. There's not too much different than like your house. You'll have to find your light switches. A lot of the buttons or lights you'll notice are just push button right here in the center to turn those on and off. Other lights are going to be done off of switches like so. The kitchen sink, again, once you're hooked up to city water, these covers are just to provide more counter space. Otherwise, you remove them and you have access to a full garden sink. Power connections, USB connections. If this is left down, I believe you push. It can be in the down position so that you don't know it's there. Otherwise, you do have power and USB right here. The LP range and oven, if you do decide to use this, couple important things. Number one, this is a glass cover, so make sure that this cover is down while you're traveling with the unit. Otherwise, if you're going to use the stovetop, make sure that this cover is up. You want it up. Then these three knobs are going to control your stovetop. Simply turn it on, and then this is a sparker that's going to then light your burner. Just like your one in your house, if you have gas appliances or LP appliances, very similar. It will have control of the flames, so if you need to turn it down, you can. The oven can be slightly more tricky, but it's very simple. You'll notice on the knob here, you'll want to turn it to a small flame symbol. The small flame symbol is going to be your pilot light. You can zoom in real close there. Small flame symbol. Now you depress the switch. Notice it'll come out. You want to depress the switch. Leave that depressed. Keep that switch depressed here. Now on the very bottom, you'll notice there's a very small pilot light down on the very bottom. The same sparker that I use to light the stovetop is the same sparker that will ignite down there in the oven. So once you get your pilot light lit, now you can let go of this switch and rotate to the desired temperature, and the oven will do the rest from there. And then off is off, of course. And this small light here is going to do those blue lights in your oven light. If you want to turn those off at night, otherwise just some small backlighting. Microwave is a conventional microwave. Very simple, same as use as your house microwave. Moving back on this end of your unit, you're going to have your refrigerator. When you come to pick up your unit from us, the refrigerator will already be cooled down to temperature. This is a very simple 2-button refrigerator. It will be left in the on position in automatic. Keep in mind that this refrigerator, being absorption cooling, does much better if the doors are left closed, so be mindful how often you're in and out of the refrigerator to keep things nice and cold. And they can take several hours to get fully down to temperature, so if at any time you have the unit and you warm the refrigerator all the way back up, you have it turned off for any reason, just be mindful once you turn it back on, it will take several hours for it to get back down to a cold temperature. If you do want to take a hot shower, you want to have your hot water in your unit, both of your switches to do that are right here. Very simple. You'll just have to take note of the text, whether it's LP gas or 110 volt. Those are going to be your two different systems of LP or electric heating elements. So when you want your hot water, if you have full electric hookups, go ahead and just use the 110. It's a very very simple on-off switch there. If you're staying somewhere where you do not have electrical hookup and you need to use the LP in the unit, that's what this switch is going to be for. You turn it on and then let the unit heat the water with LP. You don't have to go outside to turn anything on the water heater or light any pilot lights. This system will do it automatically for you. All you have to do is turn the switch on, wait about 10 minutes, and you'll have hot water. The switch right next to all those is going to be your water pump. If you're staying somewhere that has those hookups that we went over outside, you will not need to use this water pump. If you're staying somewhere where you're pulling from the fresh tank and you do not have water hookups, that's when you're gonna go ahead and use this water pump. Again, very simple. You turn the switch on and it will pressurize your unit with water as long as your fresh tank is full, and you can use your facilities as normal. Otherwise, you leave it off. To go ahead and get your generator started, what you're going to want to do is first push and hold the stop switch. You'll notice after pushing and holding a few seconds, the generator light's going to come on. That's going to let you know that the fuel pump is running. Sometimes with generators, you need to let that fuel prime for a few seconds before starting it. Otherwise, once it's good and primed, you push and hold on the start switch. You'll hear a vibration from the generator starting, and then you'll hear it actually start up. Once you got a good start up, you can go ahead and let off the switch. If it doesn't start on your first attempt, that's okay. It may just not be primed yet. So go ahead and push and hold on the stop switch again for a few more seconds to let that fuel pump run. And then once the generator starts, it does take about 10 to 15, maybe 30 seconds or so until it provides full power to the unit. Now, your easy way to know is pay attention to your microwave here. Once the generator starts and it starts providing full power to your unit, you'll notice the microwave come on, like so. Once you have power at your microwave, you know that generator's transfer switch is turned on. Now you have full power in your unit. You can use everything like normal, like your TVs and your air conditioner. While we're on the subject of this same panel here, you'll notice just underneath, this is your thermostat for your air conditioner. This will also control your heat. It's very similar to your thermostat at your house, where it will automatically set the temperature for you. You just need to put it in the system that you would like to run it in. You'll notice the far left here is cool. Next to that is fan. On fan, you're just moving air. You're not cooling any air. Otherwise is off. And then far right is heat. The heat will run from the furnace coming from the floor and your floor ducts, so do not be alarmed when the upper unit does not make any noise. Otherwise, leave it on cool. Typically down here in Florida, we're gonna have it on cool. And the slider up top here is gonna be how you set your temperature. So set it to your desired temperature, leave it on cool. The fan mode on this side, you can have high or low in the auto section, or high and low on. If you leave it on, it will run the fan continuously. If you leave it on auto, it will work just like your air conditioner in your house, and it'll cycle that fan on and off just as needed. So typically we'll just leave it on auto most of the time, and that's gonna keep your unit at whatever temperature you have set on the thermostat. The front pad and the bed here can be left in this position while traveling. It will make it slightly easier for you to get into the driver or passenger seat from the main camper. Otherwise, if you want to use this area for sleeping space, this pad will be mounted right up here, and you can just simply pull it towards you and lay it in place up here. That's going to give you your upper bunk here for 2 extra sleeping positions. The television that's mounted up front will typically be in this stored position. It does have 2 small knobs on this end that will loosen. And then once loose, the TV can then swivel into a position where you can see it from the coach. I'll go ahead and show you on this television. It's going to be the same process on the rest of your TVs. As I mentioned earlier, you do have a digital TV antenna mounted on board, meaning you will get all of your local channels, which is great if you want to make sure you can stay up with your weather channel and stuff like that in your local area. This one's already been scanned here, so it does automatically come on. This is typically how it'll be after you run your auto scan. Otherwise, if you just have a black screen here, the very first step you're going to want to do is make sure you go into your overhead cabinet right next to your TV here. You'll notice that the coaxial is connected right here on the wall, and there's a very hard to see switch right on the other end of that coaxial that is an on-off switch there. Make sure that that switch is depressed and in the on position. That's going to provide power to the antenna. And at that point, you can then go to the menu on the remote and scroll over to the channel. Select enter on the channel, scroll down to auto scan, and click start to scan. The bed will jackknife out into extra sleeping area. Your main dinette system also does go into extra sleeping. You'll notice that there are seat belts as well here. These will be accessible to you if you do need them during travel. They'll be routed through the bench there. Otherwise, to put this down into sleeping, what you need to do is remove your cushions, top cushion, remove your bottom cushion to the side. On this end, same thing, remove your top cushion. Pull your bottom cushion up to the side. And now this table does actually swivel down to give you extra sleeping. You'll have to get the camera down here and you'll notice that this lever is what's going to lock it into place. So support the weight of the table and then pull the lever down. And then this bar, when it's pulled towards you, you may have to give it a little help. Just pull it towards you and push down on the table at the same time. You'll notice it drops right down flush. And then take those same dinette cushions that you were just using, of course. Now as we move back to the rear of the coach, of course we have more sleeping. Again, you have another privacy curtain here. This top bunk here, it does swivel in and out of position, of course. While it's in the up position, there are two travel latches that you'll notice on the side here that simply lock into place like so. While traveling, the bunk will be in the up position and locked in place. If you want to use this upper bunk, simple, you just pull those two pins out and allow it to fall down. Now you have that access to the sleeping. Okay, the rear bunk down here, you'll notice that it is set up in the dinette position currently. Of course, you can use this for more eating space. If you want to use this as secondary sleeping, it is very simple for it to go down. First step is go ahead and lift your tabletop off. You may need to rock it a little bit to get it off and released. Set it into place to the side. Now your bottom pole, this comes off as simple as well. This bottom collar you just need to loosen. You don't need to take it all the way off, but just go ahead and loosen it until the pole will go ahead and rotate freely and slip out of the way. And then once it's out of the way, you can go ahead and set your tabletop back down. Now notice here, if you'll zoom in real fast for me under this, there's a small shelf that this tabletop is setting on just inside the dinette. So it doesn't sit on top of the dinette, but a small shelf just underneath. And then go ahead and use your dinette cushions once they're flattened out. To complete your sleeping area downstairs. Again, going back to the table is very simple. With the cushions out of the way, lift your tabletop. Your lower peg will slide right in the bottom pole here. Give it a clockwise rotation to snap in place. Clockwise rotation on the collar to go ahead and lock the pole down. And then this puck on the bottom of the table will slip right on top. Of your table here. And pull this bunk down, that way I can show you the television up here. Notice you do have your TV up top. This does have DVD inserted right here on the side, or HDMI if you want to plug in anything else. The controls are right on the top end of this TV here. And don't be afraid, downstairs you do have the same access for the kiddos. The television is simply hidden behind that back cushion there. There's a small TV hidden back here that does swivel out. Again, it does have DVD, USB connections, and the controls right on top there. Again, you do have a TV in here. There is a DVD player hidden behind this cabinet as well. If you would like to use those, the wires may be tied up here. Open up that cabinet, that DVD player is hidden under here, so you can utilize that. Otherwise, you'll have your regular TV operation in here, local channels. The rest is all wardrobe storage. Keep in mind, you do also have a small amount of storage under the bed that you can't access, that same outside storage there. Now going into the bathroom here. The bathroom you're going to use very similar to your house with a few small tweaks, because remember, we're in a motorhome now. The switches for the bathroom right here on the left hand side. One switch for the power fan, the other one just for the light here. Remember, in your bathroom you do have a vent here. Very simple clockwise rotation is going to open up that vent, and then again that switch there on the wall is going to turn that fan on to exhaust any humidity or odors out. The shower here is very simple. You'll use it just like you do it to shower your house. You do have hot and cold water faucets, regular shower spigots, and shower door here that does lock in place to keep the moisture in. This is a magnetic strip, so there's no locks or anything you have to do before or after traveling. So go over the operation of the toilet. Of course, it does have just an upper and a lower lid. And once you go ahead and use the facilities, in order to flush this toilet, instead of a regular hand valve like you're used to, there's going to be a small foot-operated valve on the bottom right-hand side of the toilet here. And it's very simple. You just depress this with your foot. Water will flow. A full depression will open the valve to flush the toilet all the way, and then let go of the pedal will stop the flow of water and allow the toilet to finish flushing. Bathroom vanity here and mirrors. This again will just be like your vanity at your house, hot and cold water. Now, one more special thing in the bathroom. This is very similar to at your house. Do remember that there's a GFI outlet located in here, so if you do have your blow dryers on or any moisture gets in this plug, this can be reset just like the one in your house to provide more power. That's going to be your tutorial on the 30FE.